good morning. Or perhaps, given the nature of our journey today, it's a more somber greeting we extend. For those of us who grew up with the flickering images of Hollywood's golden age, and indeed its modern titans, on our screens, the news of a star's passing often feels like a personal loss. These aren't just names in a headline. They are threads woven into the fabric of our own memories, defining eras, shaping our laughter and even our tears. Today, we delve into a narrative that challenges the tidy explanations we've been given for some of these departures. We're going to pull back the curtain on what we call the Hollywood Pathology, a unique affliction born of relentless sun, immense pressure, and the absolute mandate to appear flawless. Today, we begin with a name you know, a face you recognize, and a medical secret that, once declassified, reveals a chilling connection to other lost legends. We're talking about Eric Dane, a man whose final hours, not of life, but of a profound, hidden struggle, became the Rosetta Stone for understanding a silent epidemic haunting the industry's most iconic figures. The official stories, my friends, just aren't adding up. Let's explore what truly happened and what it tells us about the price of fame. Eric Dane. For years, he was the very embodiment of the California dream, wasn't he? That rugged, sun-kissed charm. The kind of undeniable presence that made him a household name. Particularly as Dr. Mark Sloan, McSteamy, on a show many of you, I'm sure, gathered around the television to watch every week. Grey's Anatomy. He exuded an almost indestructible vitality, a picture of health and Hollywood glamour. But behind that dazzling smile, a quiet, insidious battle was brewing, a battle that would bring him to the brink and ultimately reveal a deeper truth about the industry itself. Years before, Eric had publicly and bravely confronted a basal cell carcinoma, a common form of skin cancer. He faced it head-on, treating it, and even using his platform to urge others towards vigilance, towards self-care, a true act of generosity. Yet, what the world didn't know was that while he championed awareness, a far more aggressive and clandestine form of the disease, metastatic melanoma, had taken root, a silent, relentless enemy growing in the shadows. This was the malignancy that threatened to consume the man who seemed the very picture of indestructible health. It was a malignancy that hid, grew, and ultimately forced him to confront his own mortality, leading to what we can only describe as the final hours of his public silence on a very private medical crisis. The secret, you see, wasn't the cancer itself, but the Hollywood pathology, the relentless pressure to ignore the blemish, to push through the next take, to never show a crack in the facade. This culture, this constant demand for perfection, creates a perfect breeding ground for a disease that thrives on being ignored. It is the curse of the California dream. The very sun that makes you a star can be the thing that ultimately threatens to make you fall. The ultimate irony, devastatingly clear, is that Eric Dane, a man who bravely faced down depression and one form of cancer in the public square, teaching others the power of vigilance, was ultimately consumed, not literally, but by the overwhelming, silent threat of the same enemy in a different, more aggressive guise. He became a symbol of survival, only to become a casualty of the one thing Hollywood cannot tolerate: a persistent imperfection. The man the world knew as McSteamy, an icon of physical perfection, was nearly undone by a flaw on his skin, a tragic mortal secret hidden in plain sight, a secret he fought and, thankfully, overcame, but one that changed him forever. From the very public battle Eric Dane waged, let us turn now to a fight waged in the deepest, most profound shadows, a fight that, for one man, ended tragically. Chadwick Boseman. For many of us, he was more than an actor. He was a king, a superhero, a beacon of strength and dignity. He brought to life King T'Challa, the Black Panther, a character who inspired millions around the globe with his unwavering power and moral fortitude. You know, it's hard to imagine now, looking back at his incredible performances, the sheer physical demands of those roles, that he was simultaneously fighting a war within his own body. The official record, of course, states complications related to stage 4 colon cancer. But the truth we've uncovered, the more profound truth, is that he died from the weight of a secret. For 4 years, Chadwick fought a war on two fronts, one against a terminal disease that was slowly ravaging him, and another to maintain an illusion of invincibility for a world that so desperately needed a hero. Think about that for a second. The grueling film schedules, the intense physical training required for a superhero, the public appearances, the relentless travel, all of it undertaken while undergoing chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, and enduring unimaginable pain. He shielded his diagnosis from the very industry and the adoring public he was working to inspire. This is the secret that connects him to Eric Dane, not in death, but in the shared enemy, cancer. While Eric Dane publicly revealed his own battle with skin cancer in 2017, and used the experience to issue a public warning at the exact same time in Hollywood history. Chadwick Boseman was silently fighting his own, far more advanced, cancer. One became a public advocate for early detection. The other became a private warrior. The profound, gut-wrenching irony lies in their on-screen personas. Chadwick Boseman, the man who embodied the unbreakable, Wakandan king, a symbol of superhuman strength and vitality for millions, was privately being ravaged by a disease that was stealing his own. He projected strength while fighting profound weakness. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the sacrifices made, the burdens carried by those we elevate to hero status. How often do we truly appreciate our heroes while they are still walking among us, battling unseen foes? From the quiet dignity of a king's hidden battle, we turn our gaze to a woman who personified joy and sunshine, a voice that soared through our youth and touched our hearts. Olivia Newton-John. For decades, her name was synonymous with vibrant health, with a sun-kissed, wholesome vitality that captivated audiences around the world. We remember her as Sandy from Grease, dancing her way into our collective memory, or as the voice behind countless hits that became the soundtrack to our lives. Her image was one of pure, unadulterated radiance, an embodiment of the California dream, or perhaps, in her case, the Australian dream. Yet, beneath that bright exterior, Olivia waged a relentless, decades-long war against a formidable enemy. Her initial diagnosis of breast cancer in 1992 was a shock, but she fought it with grace and resilience. What many may not realize is the full scope of her struggle, a battle that returned multiple times, becoming a persistent shadow throughout her life. In 2017, the very same year Eric Dane was publicly confronting his battle with sun-induced skin cancer and stepping away from the spotlight to address his own health crises, Olivia Newton-John's cancer returned with a vengeance. And with this return came a secondary diagnosis, one that echoed Dane's very own struggle, melanoma. This is the quiet link, the secret woven into the medical archives, a shared cellular betrayal instigated by the very sun that illuminated their careers. Both were marked by the same environmental threat, fighting silent, personal battles against skin cancer under the relentless glare of the public eye. The irony here is so profound it's almost heartbreaking. Olivia's global image was built on an aura of wholesome vitality, a life lived under the open, sunny skies. Yet the same sun that defined her radiant Grease persona and Aussie charm was a contributing factor to a disease she would fight for years. The symbol of life, health, and the California dream that gilded her career was, in the end, a silent accomplice in her decades-long medical struggle, turning a source of public radiance into a trigger for private vulnerability. She faced it all with an extraordinary spirit, a testament to her strength, even as the sun's harsh embrace became a poignant metaphor for her enduring fight.